Good morning, my lovely viewers. Rise and shine with Global Entertainment News Morning Boss. I'm your host, Stephen, ready to kickstart your day with all the fresh news and story. And right here with me, bringing our own spark to the studio is. All right, let's dive into today's headlines for fresh from the Punch and Daily, Vanguard, and the Guidance. Top story from Vanguard this morning: USSD charges telecoms threaten to withdraw service over banks' information. The telecom operator of Nigeria, including MTN Nigeria, Airtel Global, Globalcom, and Nine Mobile, have threatened to withdraw network support for banks. Unstructured supplementary service data (USSD) following what they describe as gross misinformation of subscribers on the mode of deduction for transaction fees. USSD, commonly known as bank transfer, is done through short code on mobile phones.
Well, I think that telecom threatening to actually withdraw their service is actually a good one, because if you needed to look at the way banks are charging for the USSD code whenever someone may, even just for you to check your account balance on USSD code, you're going to like spend at least 10 naira on that. And when they now talk about doing transfer and every other thing on that USSD code, you're spending up to 100 naira for just one single service that you're going to be doing, and that is really not supposed to be. Some people actually feels like the idea of actually the bank sending you a notification on your by USSD, there is a deduction from it. You trying to check your balance, you trying to withdraw, everything is going to be on deduction, and all that is piling up to the point that you have to spend. People that actually deal with a lot of money have to spend 100 plus in all that alone, and that is really really alarming. This thing is not supposed to be like that in a working system. We don't have to be paying so much in trying to check our own account balance or trying to make withdrawals. So if deal things has to be done, this thing has to be deducted in a normal way, that like you have to do it in a normal way. If other people are opting for email bank notification, there are so many people that don't even know what emails is. There are people that don't even have a smartphone to go about this, and I feels like our bank really need to come down into this.
Well, I'm just trying to picture how many casualties this USSD has actually caused into people's life. There was actually a scenario where a woman was actually meant to be delivered, had to deliver a baby, and the amount needed to be paid into the account was 50,000 naira, and the husband didn't have enough to borrow to even cater for that need. He had to go and borrow money, and after sending that money into the husband account, USSD himself people transferring that money out, they removed almost 300 naira. So just imagine that kind of thing. The man would not be able to pay the bills of that wife, and the wife actually died. Just imagine that kind of scenario. Things like this are really, the government really need to look into this. And I think mobile network for them now trying to option out of this, I think it's actually the best way, because now they are feeling, people are now feeling,
Being cheated.
no, apart from it, the people are feeling is the network providers are having that conniving with USSD to actually do this. Not knowing that it's USSD is meant for the bank, it's what the banks use to make their own money also. And I don't think they haven't paid the network operators well for them to
For the
working
USD.
together. But I think that's very, very sad. Like, it's something, things like this are what we should be fighting for always. The telecom companies, they have their own, they have their own issues too. That will not face that yet, probably in the next future. All right, moving up to our next story from Vanguard this morning. 5 women die due to domestic violence in 2024, Lagos State Government. The Lagos State Government, through its Domestic and Social Sexual Violence Agency (DSVA), revealed that 5 women lost their lives in domestic violence in 2024. The Executive Secretary of DSVA, Mrs. Titilola Vivo Adeyemi, disclosed this on Thursday during a town hall meeting with Koshofe Ikosi Women on Sexual and Gender-Based Violence (SGBV). The town meeting took place at Kosofe local government area office. Vivor Adeniyi said the four of the spouse partners of the deceased have been arrested and cases was transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department in Manti for investigation. The other spouse is still on the run as in the custody. An autopsy was conducted to ascertain the cause of the death, and some of the cases are being prosecuted by the Directorate of Public Prosecution at the High Court, she said.
Well, that let me say that when it comes to the domestic violence, it's in every angle of the world. No one is actually free from it. But one thing I feel like those things has to be done is that whenever you find out that you are being abused in any relationship you don't have to keep on thinking that what people is going to say. You have to make your life important. Leave that relationship and try to heal first before you think that what will people say. People saying is not going to be the one that will save you from this abuse. What people is going to say are not going to protect you from this person you are still going to be with, not to abuse you. But your life is most important. Talking about women, 5 women losing their life to domestic violence is really a sad one. And if the number were to supposed to be recorded very well. Both men and women are actually facing a whole lot when it comes to domestic violence in relationship. So I think this thing has to be taken into the equal part and also look at it how it's supposed to be. There was this video that I watched when it was just like the community view. So a man was just like a video. Let's see how the community is going to react. So was shouting at his girlfriend, and then so other people came out and then told him that if you shout at the girl again, they are going to call the police on you. So the reverse was the case. The lady was shouting at the guy, and then no one actually wanted to come out to say that why is the lady shouting at the guy. So this thing has to be looked into the equal parts where everything has to be fair.
Domestic violence has actually been a huge topic in our country, and I believe we actually getting there when it comes to violence. Even the child violence have actually reduced to its maximum, but it's something we really need to look into to avoid more cases like this
Exactly.
happening in the society. All right, moving on to our next story for you today from Vanguard. Presidency to Afenifere, Tinubu economic reform painful for but necessary. The presidency yesterday faulted the position of the Pan-Yoruba Social Political Organization Afenifere that the President Bola Tinubu administration has failed Nigerians. Afenifere claimed that President Tinubu's performance over the past 2 years have witnessed a regression in human development, economic mismanagement, and domestic backsliding. However, the presidency described a fairly fair position as the conjunct's view, echoing the view of position political one of whom the group supported in the 2023 election. The special advisor to the president of media and public communication, Mr. Sunday Dare, in a statement said the Yoruba body has found it challenging to accept that under the reviewed hope agenda of the president, Nigerians comeback story is firmly underway. Dare said the statement from functional Anifere Group raises serious concern about the penchat and deliberate attempt to find fault and treat a deceit instead of objectivity. The group has found it challenging to accept that under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, Nigeria's comeback story is firmly underway.
Well, I feels like this parties that the ruling parties right now where there's this thing about them that no matter whoever that comes out to actually talk against them, they have this aura in them that whoever you think you are that you wanted to stand against this party, there's always going to be a comeback. There's always going to be a well polished grammar, a well polished word that is going to make them look like they are actually fighting the wrong people.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say, right? So this party does not even want it to look at the bad side that is happening. They just want it to look within their own self and feels like so far the senators are being paid well, the judiciary have been paid well, the Senate have been paid well, the governors have been paid well. So those people are living their life. Those we are buying ourselves the 2027 election that we are still going to remain on that seat. So whatever you're trying to say, your complaint, the inflation, the economic, the insecurity in Nigeria does not really affect them. Maybe in 1 year time when it's let me say 2026, then they are going to be like, okay, let's start polishing some side, patching up some side, then give a little hope to the people, then make them feel that we are going to be doing a lot of things, which is not supposed to be.
All right, moving on to our next story from the Vanguard this morning. New terror group Mahmuda strikes again in Kwara, kills 3 villagers. A newly emerged terrorist group known as Mahmuda has launched another deadly attack in Durama village, Duruten local government area of Kwara State, killing 3 villagers in the early hours of Tuesday. The attack reportedly occurred in the absence of the local hunter who had been instrumental in providing grassroots security support but are currently undergoing training in Ilorin under a newly approved National Forest Guard initiative by the federal government. Vanguard gathered that the slam victims were promptly buried by the community in accordance with the local custom. Despite the presence of soldiers in the general area, the terrorists managed to carry out the attack and escape before reinforcements arrived. This resurgence comes barely months after the Chief of Staff visited the region in April and deployed soldiers into the surrounding forest, leading to the arrest of 12 suspected terrorists. Kwara State Governor Abdulharam Abdulrazak had also visited the affected community and provided 25 motorbike cycles to local hunters to boost mobility and support military efforts.
This is exactly what we are still talking about. Every day, a new terrorist is going to be emerging, and then their targeting is not just kidnapping alone, but also taking life unnecessary for just to put the fears in us that if we are not ready to compile, they are ready to actually kill enough of people. They are still challenging our leadership. They are still challenging our leaders to actually see what they are going to do because they know that there's nothing that is going to be doing. Boko Haram has been existing for 15 years plus now, and then nothing has been done about it. So why won't we to emerge? Why won't we stay there and then start destroying things? Nigeria is a public toilet that anyone can just come in. Even if you are a terrorist, a kidnapper, wherever you are, you're going to come into Nigeria and then start your own massacre, destroying people. And then our leaders are already fighting for 2027 election instead of us to actually tackle this insecurity that is happening both the north and then the south part of Nigeria. Nothing is being done. We are just watching it like as if it's a new film that every day is going to be a spate of a tragic that is going to be happen. It's either in this part of the country or it's another part of the country. Nothing is going to be like a fears for us, but we are in fear, but we don't see it as any fears for us that this thing can actually extend like a wildfire. But we just wanted to leave it like that.
I actually feel for Nigeria because the way things are actually going to, with the kind of ammunition these people carry, it shows that the kind of support that backings them is actually very, very strong. And you can't tell me this kind of people have the funds to be able to fund their attacks and terrorist movement and everything. There is actually someone actually backing them. This actually happened before President Goodluck was actually went out. We saw how they used Boko Haram to threaten him. If this is actually propaganda for us to feel that the APC administration is not actually working well, it's what they've actually done in the past and it's actually seen. But we really need the government to actually see into this to avoid more killings. People they're actually using people's life as a bait. It's actually very, very wrong. Lives are very, very important. We are there to protect lives and property, not to destroy them. It's actually very sad. I think the government really needs to look into this to avoid issues, more complications like this. All right, moving up to our top story today from the Guardians. 7 die in Sokoto boat accident. No fewer than 7 persons, including the paddler, have drowned after their canoe capsized in Sokoto State on Monday. According to Zagazola Mahakama, a counter-insurgency publication, the victims were traveling from Gadan Azani to Sabon Gari Azani when the incident happened. Security operatives quickly responded to the scene, securing the area and restricting access to the riverside to manage the guarding of relatives. The local rescue team was mobilized to retrieve the bodies, which were later handed over to the victims' family for burial.
Well, this boat mishapping, it's becoming some kind of a really occurrences that kind of keep happening over and over again. Right now, many people don't want it to follow the roadside because it feels like the road is no longer safe. And then while you are on the boat, you're still going to witness a mishap. I feels like a whole lot of things needed to put into service because even at the road, you're still going to be seeing some drivers managing their cars on the road, even when it has spots. And then I feels like it's still the same thing that is actually happening right now when it comes to taking the boat and all that, and then managing to like put in together, put not wanting to spend enough money to maintain whatever you're going to be using as a business is really is endangering your life and also the life of the people that is coming out. My condolences to those that lost their families. 7 people. It's really sad.
Well, actually, it's really very sad to hear situations and incidents like this. One of the worst deaths is actually being drowned. It's very, very painful. Leaving your house open to get to your destination and stories like this happen. It's actually very sad. Just imagine most of these people might be going for their daily business. Some of them might be going to see their family. At the end of the day, we hear sad news like this. It's actually very, very sad. And I think the ports and the people in charge of sea movement and everything, water movement should be able to manage and mismanage, actually manage the fact of how people actually use lifeguard and everything. But if truly they were on lifeguard, will not be any incidents of so many deaths
Drowning.
like that. All right, moving up to our next story today from the Guardians. Customs seized contraband items worth 1.28 billion naira in Lagos, Ogun, Oyo State. The Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) Federal Operation Unit (FOU) Zone A have intercepted 11 used vehicles, 4 truckloads of foreign parboiled rice, hard drugs and other contraband worth over 1.28 billion naira smuggled into the country through Lagos, Ogun and Oyo State within 2 weeks. Displaying the seized item to journalists yesterday at the custom warehouse in Ikeja, the Controller of Custom for FOU Zone A, Mohammed Shaibu, stated that the seizure are part of the intensified effort to curtail criminal activities threatening Nigeria's economy and national security. Among the highlights of the operation was the interception of two 40-feet containers on May 23 and 24, which were loaded with vehicles and goods smuggled into in a bid to evade custom duties. Shaibu disclosed that the containers held 7 Mitsubishi Catans, 5 Toyota buses and 3 minibuses alongside other contraband items such as used bicycle, 43 used gas cylinder, 30 used flat-screen television, 65 laptops, cookers and 65 tabletop cookers and 31 units of used split air conditioner among others. He explained that the importation of these items contravenes Schedule 4 of the Common Internal Tariff. Other seizures include 1,263 pieces of used tire concealed in a Volvo truck intercepted on the May 18, a truckload of suspected bulletproof vests, tramadol intercepted along Shagamu-Ijebu-Ode Expressway, and a Mercedes-Benz truck carrying 1,665 kg of cannabis sativa hidden in a compartment which one suspected arrested.
Well, it's actually a good one that some of those things are the security personnel are really doing their work and as well. I feels like the other things that are being it's people's that actually bought this or a used product were let me say tricked so that they can buy them and or sells them to people that are in need of it. But the cannabis are actually a very bad one. Maybe those things actually come into the same loading with different people that owns them. So I know when it comes to this cannabis, those that owns them, they are not going to come out, especially the tramadol. They are not going to come out to actually wanting to claim that because they know that if they come out, they are going to be arrested. But talking about the gas cylinder and every other thing, those are house appliances, and then they are being a business for business stuff. And I feels like those whoever that is in that owns that should come forward and then let's see how it goes.
Well, I think this actually it's a good one. But one of my questions I do ask about all these seized items, where are they actually being transported to? Where are they actually being moved to? We hear cases of seized cannabis sativas. We hear cases of seized tramadol. Is it that the government are actually keeping them somewhere, or they are being hiddenly sold out somewhere? Because we've heard cases about um, officers seizing a particular item and reselling it back into the society. So it's something we really need to look also into to
Well,
avoid more.
that is actually another question that we really need to know about because I remember the time when they said that they find a warehouse with a cocaine inside, a coke inside, and then the few after some week they said that it was burned. Like they showed a video that it was being burned, and I feel like that is not even supposed to be. That is a hard work. Releasing the smoke and air can actually affect so many health and so every other person that feels like it's a fake if it's fake that is not the cocaine that they are actually burning because it's very dangerous, it's harmful to health, and then you saying that you burnt it is as if that you are trying to play a film trick to Nigerian as if that we don't actually know we are what we are doing, and then it's just as if that we are being played in this country when it comes to the leader, the security personnel, everybody have been we are being played in this country.
All right, moving on. Our next story from the Guardian this morning. Uriwa blames Niger government for over 200 deaths in flash floods. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria (HURIWA) has held the Niger state government responsible for the death of over 200 people in what is described as an avoidable disaster caused by flash floods in Mokwa, Niger State. In a statement issued yesterday by the national coordinator Emmanuel Uwobiko, Uriwa criticized the government for failing to act on early warnings from weather experts in Abuja who had accurately predicted the flood. The group described the loss of life as a consequence of what it terms criminal negligence and a failure of governance. Uriwa condemned the practice of public officials visiting disastered sites to distribute cash to victims and berate families, stating that the monetary donation could not undo the loss of lives.
Exactly. That money cannot undo the loss of life. Imagine 200 people losing their life in a flash of flood of something that can actually be prevented. I learned that there was a dam there, but how come the water was so much to the point of people losing their life? 200 people at
Eh,
that, and
And
500 are still missing that has not been found yet. That is really a tragic incident to happen within a community. How many people are staying in that community to the point of 200 and 500, making it a total of 700 people that are not being come on.
we Nigerians are very good at picking a particular figure, and I'm very sure it's more than 200. You can't tell me it's 200 on the dot. People that actually that
Is it,
died in that situation. It's been more than
when
200.
this is already a rainy season that we are. if it's been in the working system before it's going to be a rainy season, you will see where they are already trying to divert, give the direction of where water needs to flow to the dam, make way for the water so that it does not cause flood to the point of people losing their life. So you're going to learn that the government are already making a warning, evacuate this very place because of flood. They are trying to, but everything is left on believers that it cannot happen to me, or believe that I don't really know, but I feels like everything is just happening due to ignorance, and then how will I even put it? Ignorance is of everything. We tend to put everything and see that it's not going to be possible now. Even if you tell someone right now that I have I learned that in this so day a flood is going to emerge in this place, they are going to tell you that I cover myself with whatever they are serving that is not going to touch my family. But we don't do prevention. We don't prevent anything to happen.
Well, I think that's actually it's actually the best thing for the government to do is to actually prevent this earlier because the allegation by the Hudiwa people is actually saying that this have been actually been told to them earlier enough about the flood and what is coming up next. Well, I think it's actually very sad. That's very sad. Losing over 200 people in
The
a
same thing
flood.
was being talked about when it was Lagos, and then people, those that actually studied the nature, and then they were like, if Lagos is not being careful, in some years from now, the whole place is going to be overflooded and is going to be swallowed by water. You need to hear people that is going to be saying that that is not going to be possible. That we covered the Lagos state, or we covered this social place with whatever they are serving their religions, that is not going to be possible. You are just saying rubbish. You are just yabbing garbage. And
With how big the island and how popular and wealthy the island is, the most casualty they still have till now is when it comes to flood. When you go to the island, you see waters everywhere. You see a lovely estate looking
But
very good,
no, but
but
they don't
water
want to
drainage is
believe
very.
that. They don't want to believe that. They feels like there's a miracle somewhere that is going to prevent that water not to rise to the brim and then covering everywhere. That is what they are trying to say. And that is one thing. We have so much ignorance in us. We in Nigeria, we have so much ignorance in us. We have so much issue with comprehending when it comes to something that we needed to put together and look at it in a way that's supposed to favor. We tend to look at it or cover it with religions or whatever it is.
All right, moving forward, we've come to the end of today's program. Thank you for joining us today on the Breakfast Show. I've been your host, Steven. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms. We also wish our Muslim lovers, is it Ileya or call it? Yes,
Anyway.
coming. And if you know you're a Muslim lover out there, just prepare our meat and we're coming to eat. Have a blessed day. Thank you for watching.